But if I did it today, I would not be here. That's the point I'm making. You feel me? I would be home.
Right.
Trying to figure out what happened just now and process it. And I might have been 2 days later I would have did it, but not today.
Well, let me just follow on your stigma thing, right?
Yeah.
So what's the stigma of going to get a therapist? I ain't crazy. You think I can't handle?
Everybody always say that.
You know, I can't handle it. I'd be like, my man, it's not about, you don't want to wait till you crazy. Right. You don't want to wait till you breaking things at the house.
It's to prevent that.
You want to wait till you bursting out crying, or in my case, having anxiety to the point where your chest is tightening up. You know what I'm saying? You don't want to have that because you can have a heart attack. You understand?
Yeah, right.
And or some severe things can come from those things. Stress increases your diabetes. People can get diabetes from stress, not just from what you're eating, because your body can process a lot of stuff. But when it's under stress, your body can't process anything. So your high blood pressure and your high sugar can be triggered from stress. So why do you go get therapy? Well, we had to learn what it was about. I mean, mind you, my therapy included family members, included friends. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't that
you didn't bring me.
You might have been. Listen, we was talking riding and grilling, right? We was talking riding and grilling. That was therapy. Yeah. You understand?
No, it was dope.
I wasn't telling everybody,
I miss it.
Thank you for smiling.
Right.
Thank you for challenging me to do push-ups. Thank you for saying my name. You know what I'm saying? But at some point, I needed any of that. You know what I'm saying? I needed to be seen, felt, touched. You know what I'm saying? Give me, brother, that might have helped me that day. You know what I'm saying? So
tangible experience.
There's a lot of elements to that. Right. I tell you one thing I like is I feel very alone sometimes in my family with my ideology. So I might call my friend from Jersey or a friend from New York and be like, yo, what do you think about this? Right. And they be like, oh, man. And then I'll be like, see, I know I'm not crazy. You know what I'm saying? It takes just that little bit of acknowledgement for me to be like, thank you. I was walking around here like I was crazy.
But that's why we need that's why that's the whole point of this podcast is that we come together, man, as men to share certain things and actually feel at home with our thoughts, right? And then we go back to our families and we come back with that new knowledge to help our family members or friends or colleagues or children or misses, or it just makes us better. Ladies do it all the time. I believe that men are doing it. It's just not advertised enough. It's actually sold to the community as that ain't real. It is real. Brothers get together. One of the greatest groups, again, I'm going to plug, is South Florida hip-hop bands. It's called Affiliated Soul Team, AST. Let me tell you something, man. We have not did a gig in over 10 years, bro.
Really? It's been that long?
Yes, fam.
We
had a 10-year anniversary just before our last 2 gigs.
Wow.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Fam, we still call each other.
Yeah. Still talk.
Ain't nothing lost. If we form like Voltron right now, we're gonna be laughing and having a great time. You know why? It's called a camaraderie. It's called a group. It's called, hey, men getting together and actually caring for one another. That's what the band really is. Right. You just seeing the music when you see us perform, but we really a group of loving brothers that care about each other. We're involved with each other's kids. We watch each other's kids grow up, bro.
Sure.
That's a real thing.
Yeah.
And if you're a part of that, or you can be a part of that in your circle, I encourage all men to continue to do that. Because if you don't, you're out here looking crazy.
I think what happens is we look to each other for, you know what I'm saying, like you say, we need support from our brother.
Right.
You know what I mean? You need support from your brother. And your brother, you never know when your brother needs. I'm very mindful that my brother needs support from me too.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like if you need it, you already know another brother is going to need it. So just be mindful in your travels and things that happen in people's lives.
And it doesn't make you soft. It doesn't make you soft, to lean on somebody, to ask somebody for information. Right. Because that's really what therapy is about, is, passing on good information coping skills. I remember when I used to road manage, and I had all these comedians, but mostly just guys from rough sections of New York.
Right.
Dudes couldn't even drive, right? But I'm stressing because I'm the driver, you know? And we would be late for a show, and this was before we had the MapQuest on the phone. So now we just had the regular road map. And if you get lost, it'd be like, you don't even know where we are. Pull over and ask somebody. So I used to have a lot of stress. I developed a playlist of songs that would keep me calm in those times. One song on there was Whitney Houston, but the rest of them was, you know, just easy, mellow. Right. You know, New Jersey, we have a lot of house music, so I put some house music on there. You know, it wasn't stuff that was going to get my blood pressure going. And when I told my therapist about that, she said, yeah, you need to make a variety of playlists. You know, I have a gospel playlist that's not just generic gospel. It speaks to me, right? But then I have a playlist that I have called Love Me. Love me, showing love to myself.
Loving you, yeah.
Right, you know, and it's just songs that might not be about that, but they may make me think about myself, take me to that good place. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? My first role in hip-hop was a DJ. So I already knew music and complimenting music and themes and energy, you know, so I just used that to make a playlist for myself. And man, I'm telling you, some people make playlists, you know, to get her in the mood. You're gonna have the little intimate night. Yeah. There's other applications for playlists. I have a workout playlist. Right. When I used to run, I used to be like, man, if I can get to this 4 lap to get me a mile, that the Will I Am was really big. The Black Eyed Peas, that was really good to keep me, you know, keep me right, you know. But there's other playlists because music is therapy. One thing I might, you know, I'm saying this, I haven't gotten it yet, but I'm looking to get into tuning forks and vibrations. And I wrote about it in one of my books, and it was a jokey joke to get through the story to kind of, you know. But the more research I was doing, I was like, let me try. I'm going to get a tuning fork this summer and try to see how it handles some of the aches in my bones and maybe help me with my stress, you know, and probably put it up here to get I don't really get headaches anymore. Haven't had that in about 6 months. But if I do get another one, I want to see how that works because vibrations are real, you know. And when we're talking music, that's what we're talking. Yeah, boom bap, boom ba bap. That's our heartbeat. That's the core beat in hip hop, but it's our heartbeat.
Yeah, I think the bottom line to that is self-care. I think that answers actually that question that you were asking. It's you know, to like, you can't love somebody else if you don't love yourself. Take care of yourself, discipline yourself enough to know that, you know, we're a vessel here. We're here on limited time. But we're here to influence and train the younger soldiers that are coming up behind us. And if there's going to be a disconnect, then that means that the training is not going to be adequate or sufficient for them to get through this survival path that we've already gone through. And so we've got to continue to reach back and make that connection as, you know, if you're absent father, it's never too late to get back in contact and just try to make that connection. Speaking to the elders is very important.
What? That's how I learned. You know, my dad kept me around a lot of older cats. Right. My cousins were younger, but when he took me, this is piggybacking off of what you said earlier, you bring your kid with you. Right. Right? So, yeah, certain situations, kids are not supposed to be there. Right. But I must say, there's places that I would take my sons that I won't take my daughters. Right. So, for instance, let's say a barbershop. I'm not taking my daughter in a barbershop. Right. I'll take her to get her hair done and sit and wait till but my son needs to hear men talk. Right. And men converse and men come up with solutions. And when I say men, I ain't talking about negative men. I'm talking about dudes that have building mindsets. Yeah. So it depends on the you already know. I would bring Isaiah to the rehearsals. Little man used to be right there rocking out with AST in the back. For sure. And before Isaiah, my oldest, Lamar, I'll bring him in the studio, back in the science room. Yeah. He used to be sleeping on the couch. Yeah.
And even while they sleeping, I'm telling you,
yo, we rocking, we recording, we doing all kind of stuff.
They hear the vibes.
So you bring your kids and allow them to see what society is not showing them. You know? So check it out. Check this out, man. There's no generational work. There's no generational wealth if there's no generational legacy. As I was saying earlier, 68% of our kids are being raised without consistency and a father's presence. How does that impact our finances, our future, and our sons? When you hear that stat, Mecca, what do you think? First thing that comes to your mind.
What's the percentage again?
68%.
Are what?
Are born into homes. That's what I opened up with.
That are
absent, fatherless.
That are fatherless. Yeah.
How does that impact generational wealth, finances, and our future and our sons?
Well, I mean, it impacts leadership. It impacts all of those things because, you know, like I don't want to say head of household, but father just brings about just a whole skill set of leadership and, you know, even that passageway, you know, from boy to men.
Yeah, the rites of passage.
The rites of passage, you know, with not saying that women can't raise, you know, young boys to be men, but fathers, men have a foundation that's built to do that normally, and that's through example, being present, being around. And so if fathers are not around to teach men how to save, so that when you have a family, you know, like you're just not on a check to check, or how to play sports, or how important it is to, you know, to eat healthy, and how, you know, to compose yourself, whether it be with women or not. You know, like I think that fathers definitely are very essential in the scope of that family structure, because that young boy is gonna have a family one day, you know. But if he's not taught the essentials and of life skills, then he might not even make it to have his own family, let even, you know, be alive one day, because of just certain behaviors that are just allowed, or maybe not being able to be taught, you know, some of those skill sets, so that he doesn't fall into those pit holes in life.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, Jeff, check it out. So
I want
piggybacking off, right?
Yeah,
so this is going towards his question. I'm asking you a question within the first question I asked. So I know you're ready to go. How do we start prioritizing legacy and wealth in a way that honors our roles as fathers, whether in or out of the home?
So I'm going to use the same little story that I was going to use before you asked that, because I think it is applicable, right?
Right.
So for some reason, my sleep patterns have been real off. So I've been watching a lot of TikTok at 3 o'clock in the morning. If you go to my on my Facebook page, you know, you'll see he's posting at 2 o'clock in the morning.
That's the sleepless night. TikTok.
Right.
TikTok's
so it's
crazy,
been heavy
man.
the last 3 days. I just saw another video, right? And it's directly related to what women do, what men should do. So this chick, and I'm sorry, I want to use that term.
Go ahead, be transparent.
Right.
This is what you're saying to yourself 3 in the morning.
This is what I would say to her face.
Let me hear this.
Right. So she said, you know, he was like, you know, what do you look for in a man? He's got to be 6'4". Right. He's got to make 6 figures.
666.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got to do this. She was laying it out. Pow, 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 pow. Right. And brothers be priding themselves, you know, at not having a list practically.
Right.
Practically not a visual list. Okay, she's got to look this.
Yeah.
Right. She got to look good. You know, and we kind of know what that is for each individual, but we don't have nothing else. And so for me, we talk about generational wealth. We have to develop a list of wealth maintainers. So what is a wealth buster? Here we go. She's taking me for all my money, you know, from the get stretch. You understand? You done lost half your money. You now have to have 2 separate households, right? And we laugh at, who is it, Anthony Edwards, and everybody's worried about, what's the dude, the football player that got the Heisman?
Yeah, that just got married.
Yeah, we cross our fingers that he knows what he's doing, but he really put his middle finger up to everybody, right? So we laugh at those people from the beginning, them little kids. Get it right. Child support is a major. I know people that have been made a fortune, and because of muddling up their lives, having multiple children, still dating after they get older, have messed up their generational legacy before their death. You know, and they can't slow their father down. Father done got another wife. You know what I'm saying?
Or another baby.
Right. And he did not build that family where the kids can even talk to each other. And the family has a legacy. They have money. But because they can't talk to each other, the lawyers get it all.
Right.
The government gets it all, right? And or they can't do it. Just sell the house. That's all I say is just right. You know, I haven't talked to my sister in so long. I can't talk to my brother, whatever. Just sell it. You've neutralized your generational wealth. You have generational wealth. You've got a house in Opa-locka. 6 figures. They bought it for $10,000. But y'all can't get along.
You can't get along. That's a real thing.
You know, so
it ends up in probate court.
Right.
It ends up.
And so people always talk about this from you building money. Well, people that have built money still have to do things to make sure that money transfers over to the child, or else it's the same thing. If they don't get it, it don't matter why they didn't get it. They just never got it. So also building some economic literacy in your children so you feel comfortable giving them the money.
Right.
You understand? I'm saying, oh, he ain't going to be able to do nothing. He's just going to lose it as soon as I give it to him. Well, you know that. Start building some safeguards in there. We talk about trusts and stuff like that for children, putting money in escrow until they get a certain age. All those things are important. So you have to model. I remember when we were talking about hip hop and bringing them to the barbershop, I listened to a lot of wild stuff when I was in my 20s. I listened to all the stuff that was out, not necessarily hardcore gangster rap, but I listened to a lot of curses. When my son came around, he didn't even know I knew who Biggie was until he was in middle school, because I had started moving that out. So he also didn't know I knew how to waste money, because I wasn't wasting money. I wasn't rims anymore. Right. I was more economically focused and mature, not just because I was right, because I wanted to model that stuff for him. Right. You know what I'm saying? So when we look at all these, what's the kid in Ely High School for prom? He threw $100,000 out.
Damn.
What?
I think I seen a video of that. I thought that was insane.
Right.
The proms is crazy, bro.
The proms was crazy. It's proms a whole nother. It's bigger than weddings right now.
But when we talk about building your legacy, take that $100,000 and buy him a house.
Yeah, of course.
Right. Put that $20,000
property so it can actually
put that
bring in more money.
There you go. You understand what I'm saying? So do something with that, but it doesn't happen at the end of life. You can lose it at the end of life. You know, so I just think, you know, when we talk about those things, maintaining your family, trying to, and maintain your family is from the first date. Is this chick going to be able to be a mother and a wife to me? I know she's, the smashing is going to happen, but let me see, is it worth it?
Well, I have to piggyback on that. That's something that more fathers should be aware of. Teaching their sons and daughters is called vetting.
Right.
Vetting.
And when you vet properly, nothing is guaranteed, but if you vet properly,
you have a higher
better chance of receiving what you actually want for your life versus what you want for your knife. All right?
For your life, for your knife.
Your stick. You know what I mean? Your thing, Cause
think with the big head.
We're visual, right? So we look at, oh, man, but you don't know if all this is straight up empty. Ain't nothing in between them ears. Right. That's going to mess you up. As a matter of fact, you're going to spend more money with her.
Right.
You're going to waste money. She about to mess your money up.
How about that what is that thing that Steve Harvey said to the women? You have to have a 90-day rule. I seen a skit on of course again the internet, and the guy had a 90-day rule. She was like, "Well, I'm ready to have it." You know, he was like, "Well, I don't know who you are. We haven't gone." And that might have been a joke.
He was vetting.
Right. It might have been a joke. But I know I did that
man.
with a couple of chicks. Yeah. It wasn't just because I didn't know their disease, status. It was like, I don't know. She's like a little crazy.
Sometimes the ladies don't want to hear no, though.
God is a comedian. He'll give the best physical body to the most empty shell of a brain. Right. He'd be like, come on, God.
Yeah.
You got to.
I'll tell you what. Like that? If you try that, I told a young man that the other day, he was riding in my other transportation line of work, and he asked me some questions about manhood. He said, "I never grew up with a dad."
Right.
So in that moment, I knew that was the
next.
He's looking at me for guidance at this moment. This is a complete stranger, and he said, "Do you mind I sit with you on your break?" I was like, "Yeah, man, no problem." So we start chopping it up. And he's talking about a young lady and how he wants to be with her. He wants to do so much, but he's struggling right now financially, and he's on edge because he thinks that she is seeing other dudes. I said, well, first and foremost, what you got to do is don't leave with your Johnson, bro. Put it down. Don't even think about sex, man. Leave her alone. Just ask her the right questions from up here. He's like, what? I was like, yeah. A lot of ladies ain't even used to that.
Right.
Don't even talk about sex. Let's talk. Ask them what do they want to talk about. What are some things? Intrigue and find out. That's real vetting, you know. Because if we continue to just go with the flow, ladies are not going to be challenged. Guess what? Every lady likes a good challenge.
Thank God. Then there's the sexy reds. You be like the sexy reds. Be like, oh, I'm like there are, you know.
It's no challenge to a woman.
There's some Ice Spices out there. You be like, well, she just wants to see the gold chain.
Yeah, if you leading, think about it. If you leading with the same thing, every dude is leading with, and that is,
too small.
Let me use my money to attract her. Let me use sex to keep her with me. Guess what? They used to that.
I'm telling you,
go to the other street. Don't tell them a damn thing. Ask some questions.
Right.
Leave early.
Right.
Hang up the phone early.
Right.
Hey, I gotta go.
Right.
Click. What?
Yeah.
Why is he doing that?
He playing hard to get.
Yeah, BS. Whatever they call it. It's called vetting. Right?
He's running game.
He's running game.
I can't see you this Thursday.
He got other things lined. I used to do that. I used to do that, but I had other things lined up. That's why.
So Valentine's Day, I had appointments.
I used to do that.
I can fit you in at 6 to 8.
That's a real thing, though.
And then so the other, you know what I'm saying?
But the one you want, right? The one you want. I get it.
Oh, you ready now?
Great strategy.
It can be confusing, and you don't want to confuse your heart.
That was the immature me, though. You know,
yeah. Right? That's a great. But I understand that thought process because that makes sense. You wait there. I need some groceries right now, but I'm not going to ask you for the groceries. I'm going to get the groceries over here, but I really don't want to buy from this grocery store. I'd rather be dealing with your grocery store, but I don't want you to know me for just the grocery store.
Right.
I want your beets and carrots.
I
want to drink your smoothie.
As they say in France, les fleurs.
Les fleurs.
Les fleurs.
Le fleur.
You know what I mean? It's all good. All right, so Mecca, check it out. How can we use art, music, and activism to reshape how we value fatherhood and build legacy through culture?
Yeah, I think
culture was important.
We skimmed over it a little bit. I think at this point, now that we are mature, we understand and value what fatherhood is and what it should look like. I think that we need to start implementing it in the art form so that the deconstruction of the family is reconstructed through the arts and culture and the medium that is about self-expression. It's about people wanting to see that come back and not accepting it for the system that broke it down. And so us as artists, I feel that if we start to analyze and evaluate the importance of fatherhood, then we start implementing the things that look like fatherhood, that looks like family, that looks like unity, a unit and we start implementing that together, whether it be sculptures that used to look like a single person, maybe it's a father, mother, just start implementing things that, build back the sense of family and love for the family. And I think that should be our obligation, if that really is something like artists really take on.
True hip hop,
true hip hop, and start. I love the way that hip hop has matured, and you see the father, mother, and you see the seed. A lot of times you do see the broken families, and that's what we're so used to, in the imagery of things. But you are seeing some like families that are staying together and going through the test of time. And I don't know what's going on behind closed doors, neither do I want to know, but the fact that, things is being worked out and they're portraying that in front of the media, that it's not a toxic situation, I think is a beautiful thing for the expression of arts and culture.
Yeah, it's rare. We don't get to see it that much, but it's dope.
Nah.
And,
I thought you was going another direction with the question.
No.
I remember the song Edo G and the Bulldogs used to have.
Yes, that's
be
90s.
Be a father to your child. So I thought you was going to be like, be a grandfather to your child's child. Be like
that too, though.
I say that. I laugh, right?
No, I'm telling you, somebody's going to come out with a whole grandpa album or single, and it's going to be relevant.
As important.
I'm Big Daddy Kane, right? I'm Big Daddy Kane, and then KRS-One, and then I have to throw Rakim in there, right?
Okay.
So Rakim been trying to come back. And I'm like, dude, you can't come back singing, I used to be a stick-up kid. No, you're a grandfather, son. You got to rap about being a grandfather. How does it feel having a daughter-in-law? You understand what I'm saying? That's a unique feeling because
the people don't want that, though. Real talk.
No, you
know what they want? They want the original piece.
Okay, so here's the thing. The day party people, right?
Because there's an emergence.
That's the same generation.
That's an emergence of day party people, right?
Citizen.
Whoa.
He said day party.
Right.
It's called senior citizen,
the
bro.
10 p.m. I want to be home people.
They'll call it the brunchettes and the brunchers.
So Mantronics is coming to Miami over the summer.
Okay.
Yeah, right? With Just Ice. And what's the time?
8 p.m., 6 p.m., something like that.
6 to 8.
I already know.
As a
it's
day
because, fam, listen.
Right. I went to see KRS-One, right? At Revolution. We got there at 8 o'clock. The brother didn't hit the stage till 12 p.m.
No.
I was sleep
Half
standing.
the people left.
I was sleeping.
Half the people
he gave
left.
a lecture. I give it to him. He was doing some stuff. Okay. But Jimmy J, none of that hit the stage until 12 p.m. Right. I was like, my man, you got to know, we 50s, right? You got to know the day party movement is kicking in.
The day party,
right?
I call it senior citizens.
No, son, no.
Fam,
yeah, if they got a
so
we can't.
If they got grandma,
I'm embracing it more so than others. Let me tell you something, man. Let me ask you, what's the average life expectancy
of
a human being, a male?
Well, is it 70s now?
What's a half of 70? We round the numbers off.
35.
Thank you.
Okay.
Midlife is 35.
Yeah, but
we are in our 50s. We are quote unquote. What's your word? Day party people.
Day party people.
Quote /
Okay,
senior citizens. Come on, man.
Here's the other thing.
Am I wrong?
We are redefining a lot of things. Right. But I'm going to say this.
He's like,
50
what?
is the new, whatever. Remember how they used to say that? So we redefining these age things. Right. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, remember KRS-One said, 50 years later, we can start it. I'll be the old school, still say a rhyme.
Right.
Well, he's there. Yeah. He's there. If I'm 58, he's 60. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And there's a whole bunch of 60-year-old. I went and saw Bill Bellamy last night. Guess how old he is? Yeah, he's 60.
Senior citizen. People just don't want to use that. Let me tell you something.
Because the old stigma was
right. He's
well, how old was Archie Bunker in All in the Family? He was 60.
Right.
That's what 60 used to. Bill Bellamy is still doing layups.
Yeah, well,
you know what I'm saying? I'm still riding my bike.
Yeah.
I picked up tennis again. You understand what I'm saying?
Everybody don't age well, so that's all that is.
But then you had George Jefferson. He didn't look like he could play ball.
Let me ask you a personal question.
Yes.
You get your AARP card in the mail?
Ben.
10-4, you a senior citizen. Come on, stop.
Ben got it. Don't worry, it comes in the mail.
You ain't got to do it. I know people don't look for it, but it comes in the mail. It shows up.
Yeah.
You going to get discounts, fam.
Yeah, you're going to get the hotel discount.
Everything, fam. Breakfast at Denny's, 20% off. You like,
son.
I ain't playing with it. I don't care. You heard it here first on the Mental Cypher Podcast. I am a senior citizen and I'm proud.
All right.
Give me my discount, fam. Give me my discount.
So
we are the elders. We have the wisdom and we teach. That's what it is.
Yes.
Yeah, we got a little gray.
Moving
Come
to
on,
Century
fam.
Village.
You know what I mean?
55 and older community.
We there. Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, to be honest though, I have friends that have retired at 54. You know, COVID advanced a lot of people's early retirement, and they was pushing those packages, and I was like, yo, you're retired. You know what I'm saying? I have a friend that worked from high school when we graduated, the same job. He had 30 years in. And he hit 50-something, and
out.
It was bad. I was like, damn, I got to work till I'm 65. And then they moved it to 67. So I got another 9-year bid or whatever I'm going to go. But, so it is real. I mean, we can change the stigma. Seeing citizens, it's just we got to call something older than us something else. Right. Because I'm not that yet.
Yeah.
So, fellas, we're getting ready to wrap it up.
Oh, man.
I know it was a blessing, but finish the sentence. Finish the sentence for each person. A real father is 2 sentences.
A real father is responsible and loving and held accountable for his ways and actions.
That's what's up. I agree. Jeff?
I got to do the same thing? All right. A real father is fun, inspiring, challenging, and willing to go support you in everything that you desire. Your first teammate.
Group question.
Pick the wildest question.
What message would you give to fathers out here trying to stay present, positive, and mentally strong in negative situations? Quote unquote, baby mama drama, whether they're in the home or not.
Well, I've already had to do that. So
experience.
Yeah, my son, my oldest, has had to deal with some wild experiences, and he's championed all of that by staying the course, understanding that there is a future. You'll get your chance. You'll get your day in court. It may happen at 18. It may happen every other year. Make the most of it when you do have it. You always have 2 parents anyway, and even in a shared family, where they're married, you can have conflicting values in that, So just because the parents aren't harmonious doesn't mean that you have to bite your tongue. You just say it in the way that you can and get it when you can. And I've known some fathers that have been able to do that and gain custody of their children. Deion Sanders got his children back. So it's not the end of the world. You might be thinking it is. Like one of my students, he posted a video on Instagram of his baby mother walking away. He said, that's the last time I'm going to see my son. And I had to text him like, no, son, relax. That might be the last time you see him for this week, but the courts can bring y'all back together. Life be lifing. So stay ready.
Things can happen.
Yeah.
That's really good advice. Stay ready.
Yes.
That's a key.
Yeah.
Stay ready.
Yep.
Too many fathers give up and then they get into
start another family.
Yeah, or control substances.
Yeah.
Or they give it, they don't take the time to learn their lesson and try to do things differently if there's a next time. You have to study yourself. I think a lot of people don't really study themselves. They just keep going. Like the whole point of therapy and mental health awareness and I always advocate for mental health awareness, is that you get an assessment of you more frequent if you're consistent in therapy and you're really honest with yourself and your therapist, what happens is you start steadying off the course, and having your sessions can bring you back on course.
Right.
This is why you must stay in it. So, you know, shout out to all of the Mr. Cleans out here. You know, we wear caps. But it was a time long, long ago, far away, when we had a crisp tape. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So what would you have to do? Go to the barber shop.
Right.
Every 2 weeks, because all of a sudden your shit looking like Wolfman. Like, what?
Right.
But when you get a certain age, you're like, nah, son. 5 minutes, you good.
You don't want that round Wayne Brady type.
So Wayne Brady? No, the Black Power Ranger fan. Worst tape in history.
Whoa.
Worst tape. I call it, man, rainbow tape,
Yes.
You ever seen that cat?
Oh, my
the Black Power Ranger.
Yeah,
that joint was a U.
It's the anti-tape.
The upside down capital U. But yeah. So what I'm saying is that therapy is going to keep you on course.
What do you say?
You know,
to fathers to keep them in when they may have given up, or they're contemplating like, I'm never going to see this child again, or it don't matter what I do now.
Yeah, just know that child's going to get older and want to know if you cared enough to really be present. And there's ways of showing that. You know, there's just stay focused. You know, in certain situations it might not be easy, but if you have your love and the child's love in mind, and you really want that connection, there's certain fights that you're just going to pick up and you're going to tackle because just the love for whatever it is that you're fighting for is going to supersede whatever pain or struggles it is that you might be dealing with at that time. And I know sometimes that puts a lot of fathers in financial situations that they can't, whatever it is, but that'll never supersede the willing to want to be with your seed or want to do for your seed. That's going to show. So stay focused, stay steadfast, keep your head up, and nobody could take away that you're a bad father just because maybe you don't have the finances that the court says that, to maybe, to take care of that child. Try to stay in that child's life as much as possible. And that child's going to grow up and remember these things. That's what memoirs are. And they look back and they say, yo, my dad may not have had it, but he was present. And that's more than having it financially.
It's more value.
Yeah, of course.
And I'm going to bring a show up, not a podcast this time. But we all remember Maury Povich. Yeah. You are not the father, and then the other one, what's the other one? A paternity court? That's the new Maury. And they be hitting him hard. They be like, why don't you tell him he was the father? Or whatever. And they had the moms there. The next phase in that conversation is Karamu. Have you ever seen Karamu show?
No. That's the black brother.
The black gay dude from Real World.
Yeah, I seen him.
He's savage. Really? His show is savage. He brings them in after it's an adult child with the adult parents. Post-child support, post-child rearing. Mom, you didn't tell your daughter that was her father and he lived around the corner from the block?
Yeah, I seen that.
And what it does is it shows now, like you said, that father who laid in the cut, he didn't let his anger get the best of him. He stayed vigilant. He paid his child support. Now he gets his flowers, but they ain't even blossomed. They trees now. Right. Now you get to see that paid off. You understand? So if you need to see that investment in you and keeping your health together, you paying the child support or doing whatever you can do, staying in that child's life or just sticking by your story will pay off, it does pay off. And that's the part of the show or the story that we never saw on Maury. That's the part we never saw on Paternity Court, was after they're adults. How do they go back and meet their fathers or, their parents and address the mother who was out there saying, wild stuff about the father.
Yeah.
And we've seen, on his show, you've seen the daughter be like, how could you say that? He was doing this and this and that. And then the mother would have to say, I was just young and immature and it got the best of me. The stuff that she should be saying in family court to keep them child support payments down, she could be that intelligent human being at that younger age, but sometimes they let their anger get the best of them.
Right.
So that show is good. That's why,
You mentioned some of it you just stay steadfast and it pays off.
Yes.
Unfortunately, it don't get paid.
You don't
get a refund.
Right.
That's the reality.
you miss the child growing up, and sometimes they do believe their mom.
That's what I'm saying. And you don't get a refund, bro.
Right. Because sometimes dudes did make a mistake.
Right.
Sometimes, look, what was it? Lil Wayne had the two of them pregnant at the same time. Mm-hmm. Sometimes dudes was very sloppy. And there's almost no way to mend somebody's anger and frustration. You betrayed their heart. You know what I'm saying? And that scorned that woman forever. She's not good. Therapy ain't going to fix her for the next man, and it's your fault. That's like people tell you.
That's the absolute truth.
That people tell you, don't kill people. Be mindful. When you breaking a woman's heart, people need to tell you the same thing. Be careful dating games with people's heart. Yeah. When I do my relationship workshops, I tell people that love is one of the strongest emotions, and it can cause people to do wild things like kill people or kill yourself. And that's real too.
Yeah, we're trying to prevent that.
All of that. All that. I don't want you to kill nobody. I don't want you to.
Exactly.
Right. But
go get that help. Tap in, fellas. Make sure you go get your therapy.
Yes.
As they say, my cousin would say in Trinidad, you look like a man to go jump, but don't jump,
Don't jump.
Don't jump. That means you look like you about to jump off this cliff.
Don't do it.
But don't do it. Okay?
Just keep your sanity.
Right.
Self-love.
One thing you wish you told your younger self before becoming a father, real quick.
Damn.
One thing I wish I would have told myself before becoming a father. Well, I don't think anything could have prepared you for that. But if I had one wish,
you could tell your younger self, right?
Yeah, I guess. Wow. I think I would have just told myself to be a little bit more fine. There's a lot more finances that could have, in turn, really translated into generational wealth as we're speaking right now. That I think that would have benefited, like the family, or even his future, So I think that I did a great job, raising him, at least as far as my experiences could allow. Because, you raise these kids based on your experiences. I can't teach them anything that I don't know. And so because of my experiences and situations, I feel like I definitely did the best that I could. But if I could tell myself to really put that bread to the side as they were younger, so that when he reached a certain age, he could buy this duplex or he could buy this fourplex. I think that I wish I would have done that, because that in turn, that real estate and creating generational wealth with building fine assets that are very, that are not expendable and disposable.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it would have been very important.
I would have said, pace my emotions, right? And remember, you still going to be alive after they graduate high school and they move out. And you can't give all of your stuff to your child. You have to save some for that, for that drive home, for that last part of your life. And, don't do it. So I'm in the process. If there was ever a mistake that I didn't save some in my tank for myself, now I have to, I didn't totally lose myself, but I am refinding myself and putting myself back together, because I had become such a father. I was such a different person. Now I have to go back to who Jeff is,
rediscovering you.
Yeah.
Bless up.
All right.
We got like 5 minutes.
That's
on
it.
tape. Yeah.
That's it. So one love, fellas. I'd like to thank y'all real quick. I need y'all to plug your social media platforms real quick. Look directly into the camera. You can make sure you're looking in the right camera. So, and you're going to actually plug your name, what you do, and your social media site.
Yeah, so my name is Mecca Grimo Marcelin. My IG, YouTube, Facebook, everything. Every handle is Mecca, a.k.a. Grimo, M-E-C-C-A, a.k.a. Grimo. Also have a travel destinations vlog at Life Travels. I have a community page, Little Haiti Field Trips. Got a poetry page, Poetic Lakai. Have a cultural ambassador page for IET. IET was born in me. And I'm the new host of the New Haitian Generation. Got a show every Thursday on Beacon TV. And also the program director for the nonprofit FEPULI, Children's Hope Chest of Dreams, where we create cultural programming in the community. All those handles are active, and you can find me at all those handles.
All right. I'm Coach Yo Jeff on every platform, whether it's the one I don't use, Twitter, or Threads. I'm Coach Yo Jeff on TikTok, which I don't use. But if you want to go where I'm used, I have a links page that has my links to all my movies, Gold Digger Killer, The Black Nun. I have my book, The Hip Hop Dating Guide, that's on Amazon. And all of my comic books, whether you find them on Kickstarter, where it's Hip Hop Comics and Flicks, that's my handle. I also have a hip hop processing vlog called the Sci-Fi Express Lane, and that's on YouTube. So that would be Red, Black, and Green Promotions or Sci-Fi Express Lane. But on this show, you'll see the link to all my links. So you'll get all of the different expressions of me that I have put out. So my books are on Amazon. I have comic books on Kickstarter. I have movies that's on Tubi and various other platforms. And get at me. You know, I'm old man on Facebook, so I still got the Facebook, baby. 5,000 plus friends. I need to.
What you said, the MySpace?
Yeah, no.
I thought you said
there you go.
MySpace.
Right. Okay, how about the new one? The new one.
New MySpace.
I'm on LinkedIn. Ooh. How about that? I'm on LinkedIn. Okay. You know, I'm actually in between jobs, so by the time this airs, I'll probably have a new job. But yeah, so I'm on LinkedIn as well, and yeah. So check me out. But we all connectable. So yeah, Instagram, Coach Yo Jeff, Instagram, Facebook, and then the other platforms. Thank you very much.
Well, I thank y'all brothers for coming through. Yeah. I really do. I really appreciate you. These are some high profile men, as you can see, who's doing great things in the community. I appreciate you, and they happen to be my friends. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming. One love to you.
My brother, man.
Thank you.
Hey, yo, Jeff.
Hey, yo, Jeff.
H square.
Peace.
Peace.